come here. Oh. Turn around. Hi, Leathur Rokk here. This is a very special person. This is my mother. Without her, this channel would not be possible. And today's video is all about alternative income streams, ways to save money. And you may be asking why I have my mother here for the beginning of this video, because all my skills I learned on how to budget money, how to save money, how to not spend money, I got from my mother. From the time I was a little girl and she would take us grocery shopping, and she taught me things like unit pricing, how to find out the per pound and the per ounce cost of things, how to use cents off coupons, how to wait for sales, how to discipline yourself and not spend unnecessarily. This lady here taught me everything I know about how to not spend money. If I am frugal, if I'm cheap, if I know how to squeeze a nickel so hard that it passes gas, my mother taught me, and you all should be so lucky, and you should let them know while you still have them how lucky you are to have them. And if you want to learn more about alternative income streams, especially if you don't want or need a 9-to-5 job, if you're doing home health care for a loved one and you can't leave the house, and you want to know how to work from home, or you want to find other interesting gigs, stay tuned and I will show you what I do. So, and this is Tabby Boy. See, with the magic of editing, I went from pink lipstick to red lipstick. So, on to how I make money without being bound by a 9-to-5 job. As you probably can tell if you've been watching my videos for a while, you might know that I am a showbiz person, and unfortunately I'm not back in Hollywood, California now, so I have to find a way to have as much of my real life as possible where I currently am now. And if you're not working a 9-to-5 job, you obviously have to find ways to make money. And us YouTubers, we will often do these things. So here are some of the techniques that I have used to survive without having to do the drudgery of a normal 9-to-5 corporate world. If you have the physique and the energy and you're into it, I think that you could do a lot worse than stage dancing. But before you think that I mean something dirty, not all stage dancing is the same thing. Even within the concept of gentlemen's clubs or bikini bars or the other euphemisms for them, not all stage dancing gigs are created alike. For instance, I will jump on stage in a heartbeat. Don't make any comments about my not being 21. You know, it's stage dancing isn't just for teens and 20-somethings. And stage dancing does not have to be immoral. Stage dancing does not need to involve anything that is shameful. I have danced plenty of areas and places where nothing was required except for dancing. Because I am a very frugal person, I will not do this thing called tip outs, which is where you pay a certain percentage of your tips to like a head bartender or a den mother or whatever. The dancing establishments that I worked at have been in theaters, have been in little bars in different places, auditoriums, and I have never had to pay tip outs. Well, there was one gig, and I will not name them, and that was there was a tip out situation, but I am philosophically opposed to giving my tithe, as it were, to anybody except perhaps the IRS. And of course, if you want to make charitable donations with your own money, you can, but I don't believe as a condition of employment anybody should feel coerced to give up a percentage of their tips to somebody else. To me, and that includes people in the restaurant business, that I understand that sometimes they share tips with the, I don't know if it's the servers or the other kinds of people. I've never really worked around food or the restaurant industry, as you can tell. If I did, I wouldn't look like this. But I believe there are ways to work in industries without participating in the corruption that is a part of some of them. So but dancing is a hell of a lot of fun, and the money can be good, even though if you're really moral and you're kind of a goody two-shoes, it's not as good as what some people say it is. If somebody is telling you that they're a dancer and they're making really high sums, and it's just like a bikini bar or it's a gentleman's club, statistics say that maybe they're doing something besides dancing, and that's not something I would be willing to do. But aside from dancing, there is busking, performing if you play a musical instrument, and if you can avoid the mercantile people, because there are people in a lot of cities that do check to see if you have some kind of a license for performing. But if you know more than a few chords, and especially if you're a singer-songwriter, playing out in public for tips is always an option. Now, if you like to stay at home because maybe you are taking care of an elderly family member, maybe, or maybe you have children and you don't want to leave the house, there are work at home options. If you have an internet connection, as most of us YouTubers do, and if you have a computer, there are companies that you can do surveys and you can do small menial internet tasks, sometimes involving watching video playlists. Sometimes it involves reviewing music excerpts for companies. There are a couple of companies that I am signed up with that I do tasks like this, and I actually work pretty much 7 days a week. In addition to my YouTube stuff, I do work at home things with some companies, and they pay through PayPal, they pay through gift cards. Some of these companies, if you already have a bank account, sometimes you can get paid directly, you have checks directly sent to your bank accounts, but I'm only going to mention those companies that do not require a bank account, because the focus of this video is alternative income streams and non-traditional ways of making money, and especially if for the people that have to be in the fringes. Maybe you can't show money coming in because you don't want to lose your insurance. Maybe you are in a state that has, and you're collecting some kind of benefits or something that you don't want to lose, so you can't have money in a bank account. So this video is also for people like you. Now, one of the companies that I do things with is called Swagbucks, and I'm going to put the information in the show notes with this, and I'm going to have a referral code here. Now, per FTC rules, which are very strict for us YouTubers, I have to disclose that when I am putting in these referral links, which I am going to include in the show notes, I will get a little something from them if you click the link and use it, usually like a small percentage of the earnings that you stand to get. It's not going to take anything from what you stand to make. It's just going to give me a little something for referring you. Swagbucks, I really like a lot. You get points if you are monitoring your computer or your cell phone for that matter throughout the day. Several times or a couple times a day, they have a code which is good for I don't know how many thousand people, and if you put it in time, you get a couple of points. Now, you're not going to make a whole lot of money doing this, but the points add up, and as far as I know, they don't expire. These points can be turned into, it can be exchanged for PayPal, which is the same as money. It's like PayPal accounts. If you're not familiar with PayPal, is like an online bank account, except that I don't believe it really can get you in trouble with the government, unless maybe you're making literally $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a year. I think you will have to consult with your own tax preparer to know exactly what the minimum amount is that you have to earn, that you have to file a tax return. I don't want to get in trouble by giving you bad advice, but these kind of income streams, even if you do all of them, you should be able to monitor how much your income is so that you can hold off if you get too much, you're afraid it's going to bounce you into the next tax bracket or something. Now, there's another company that I work with sometimes, and by work with, I don't mean I have a working relationship with. I don't want you to think that I'm saying I'm an employee of these companies, because I'm not. These are just companies that I use, that I help me to support my YouTube channel, help me buy the things that I use to film with. There's a company called InstaGC. The GC in InstaGC stands for gift cards. And that's one of the first of these work at home sites that I started working with. And I will also include in this show notes my referral code for that. InstaGC has lots of ways of making money. You can watch a video playlist, and now you don't get a lot for watching videos. You get, like, for 20 video views you get a cent or something, which doesn't sound like much, but if you combine all these income streams, they do add up. I'm able to pay for all the new makeup that I buy for my YouTube channel, the products that I review on this channel. I buy through these work at home gigs that I'm telling you about. So InstaGC, in addition to video playlists, they also have surveys. Now, when you do surveys, it's very important that you give factual information, because the companies that put out these surveys rely on honest answers for their products and services. These can be anything from manufacturers of food and all kinds of consumer goods to manufacturers of drugs that want to make sure that they don't have side effects on the people that use them. All kinds of big and small businesses use surveys and market research to find out what their shopping habits are like, what people like in products. And they want all kinds of people, from the poorest to the richest, from people who don't have an income to people who do have jobs, from people who live alone to people who live in dormitories or live with their parents or live with roommates or are married or whatever. People of all walks of life can take surveys, and they really do add up. I have used gift cards I've gotten from Ulta. I've gotten gift cards for QVC and HSN. Mostly, though, now I just go straight to PayPal, because when I have PayPal, that's how I do so much of my shopping. PayPal is also great if you do donations for animal rescue. PayPal is a really great way. It's kind of like Western Union. It's like a bank without needing a bank. And especially if you don't have current ID and it's hard for you to be eligible to use the services of a bank. PayPal, I can't say enough good things about, and I'm probably going to have to make a future video just all about PayPal, because some of my viewers have asked about that. Now, there are other companies that you need to maybe get an invite from the company on, and so for these I won't have a referral code yet, or I might have in the future. There is a company called NiceQuest that I do surveys and things with, and they have a really great gift catalog when you accumulate enough points. And one of the first things I'm going to get from them is they have all these different sizes of pet carriers, and I want another carrier for my cats so that I can take them different places, and that's if I need to or whatever. NiceQuest is really good. Also, there are downloads, set boxes that you can attach to your wireless router, that what they do is they sniff some of the information that's coming in and out of your Wi-Fi, but they take away any personally identifiable information. So for instance, you don't have to worry about your social security number if you ever were to have used it online for any reason. You won't have to worry about that, or your banking information, or any personal information won't be also tapped in with anything. They won't find out the personal emails that you're sending to people. The two of you, stop it. My two cats are having a little kerfuffle. But there's a company that has a set box that I use on my wireless router. Their company is called Digital Reflections, either Reflections or Reflection without the S. But through them, I get $5 a month deposited. When I accumulate in $100 increments, for each $100, I get two $50 Visa gift cards. I could either get the virtual Visa, which is just a code, and you use that to shop online. But what I do is I actually get a physical $50 Visa card. It looks just like a Visa credit card. It has your name on it, so you want to make sure that you use the name that is on your ID. Now, that is irrelevant if you're just using that to shop at home with. But if you use that in a store, they will ask you if it's a credit card or if it's a debit card. if you tell them it's a debit card, they're going to think that you have a PIN number associated with it. So it's really better to say that it's a credit card. But then again, if they think it's a credit card, they may ask to see ID. So it's best to have it in the name that your ID is under. But Digital Reflections, yeah, I get $5 a month from them. Plus, every 4 months, I get an additional $20 that is kind of like a reward for always doing, like, once a month they ask me a series of demographic questions. How many people do I live with? Do we have any new devices, internet devices like computers, tablets, cell phones, even gaming devices, and probably now that we have the Internet of Things, any smart devices, things that are connected to the internet. You let them know every month. If nothing's changed, you tell them nothing's changed. And so you figure 5 times 12 is 60, plus what? 60, another 60? That's $120. Uh, oh God, I can't know. 240 a year, something like that. It's right now when I'm filming this, it's 4:26 in the morning. I'm not stoned or anything, but it is the wee hours, and math in my head in the wee hours doesn't work for me. But that company is reputable, and again, you can accumulate these Visa cards. They do have an expiration date though, like any other credit card, so be aware of them. But they're great if you shop online or if you shop in stores. So I really recommend them a lot. There are a couple other companies that unfortunately the names uh, are slipping off my tongue at the moment, that are downloads that are, I can see on my Chrome web browser. They are like add-ons, and what they do is similar to Digital Reflection. They sniff some of the traffic coming out of my Wi-Fi, minus the personally identifiable information. Now, I understand many of you are real privacy fanatics and wouldn't feel comfortable with this. I personally think, now that it's 2019, I'm not saying privacy is dead, but privacy is kind of an illusion, especially if you are on social media. Heck, if you have a Facebook account. There's things, I mean, if we really had privacy on Facebook, how else do you think a person such as myself could get in trouble for violating community standards when I'm sending a private message to a friend who shares pretty much the same community standards as myself and would not be offended by anything I said? How come the algorithm that runs Facebook knows our private conversations to each other on that platform? Seems to me we don't have much privacy. So if you don't mind that so-called privacy thing, there are those downloads that do deposit you probably the equivalent of $5 a month. It can vary. As I get more names, I will probably make another video and I will list them. Now, some of these things are invitation only from the companies, and even I can't give you a referral to them. If they do open it up so that we can give referrals, then I will make a future video about that, and I will give you some referral codes. But there are plenty of ways, and honorable ways, mind you, to work at home or work alternative jobs so that you don't need to do the 9-to-5 grind, or so that you could spend your time on other things, especially if you're taking care of a loved one, an aging loved one, and they can't get around and you're doing the heavy lifting and things. Wouldn't you rather spend time with an aging parent or a child with special needs rather than work some kind of sucky job that you hate, where you can't look the way you want to look and you can't dress the way you want to dress? There are ways that you can finance your lifestyle with and still be true to yourself. I'm living proof of that. And while I'm doing this YouTube thing, which hopefully I will continue my YouTube journey, including the time that I am ready to leave here and go gradually across the country. And of course, I plan on having all you guys see me in my adventures doing that. And when I resume my showbiz career in California, which is my plan, and I am working on my plans, because if you fail to plan, you can plan to fail, and we don't want that. And we want to be really good stewards of the money that we have, and you want to just watch where your pennies go. And all these extra income streams are really a good way to help. And even if you do have a day job and you want to supplement your income, there are things you can do, and working at home is certainly a valid solution to that. Okay, if this video was helpful to you, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you like me and my content and you haven't done it already, I'd love to have you subscribe. I make 3 new videos a week for your viewing pleasure, and I usually do try to get my cats involved. And I had my mother co-star today. Wasn't that groovy? So, hope I'll see you here soon. Till then, bye.